Upton. I'm the faculty director of Illuminations, and I'm the co-director of the UCI Shakespeare Center. And these two groups have come together to make possible this residency and performance today. We've also, of course, have a very important partnership here with the Fresh Basic Needs Hub. How many of you are here for your first time to see this space? So this is a space of great beauty and life and care and love. And so I'm really glad to be able to experience it with you through a theatrical performance. So I want to thank Andrea Gutierrez, who directs the Fresh Hub. She is a UCI alum, and she's just herself a very inspiring person. And all of her staff who have made this possible, including Selma Hassane, who's also performing today and is one of the founding members of Fresh Hub. This is also a partnership with the School of Humanities. Doug Luby is here on behalf of the school. And today we're officially launching our fund drive for Fresh Basic Needs Hub. And last year we raised $15,000, and this year we're aiming to raise $20,000. So join us in supporting the Fresh Hub this holiday season. That would be very meaningful. I also want to thank our amazing cast of UCI students, and their names are on the program, and they include drama students, non-drama students, and a dance student. So we're very, very happy to have this wonderful group, graduate and undergraduate students here, who gave us this all came together over the weekend, and they gave us their weekend, and they also gave us their stories and their hearts and their souls and their language, and so we're really thankful for them. My absolutely amazing colleague, Jane Page, has been absolutely instrumental to making this event happen. She has worked very closely with the casting and with being here all weekend and advising and talking me through a lot of different issues around process, because I'm, of course, an English professor. I'm just an interloper in both food studies and drama. So without Jane, I would not be here today on lots and lots of counts. Our guest director is Jessica Bauman, who came from New York to spend the weekend with us. And she did a project at Baruch College called Arden Everywhere, which is a brilliant adaptation of Shakespeare's As You Like It, set in a refugee camp. And I heard about this project and immediately fell in love with it, because as a Shakespeare person, I'm always looking for ways to make the plays speak to our contemporary world. And it seemed to me that Jessica had found a very unique way to do that. And so we met in New York, and I invited her to come out and spend a weekend with us to work with our students and create something special. So I am going to turn over to Jessica now, who will say a little bit about the process and the product that you're going to see. So Jessica?
Yeah, I'm behind. Hi, thank you all so much for coming. So I just want to give you a little bit of context about what you're going to see today. As Julia said, I got here on Friday night, so we've put this whole thing together just in the last 2 days. So what we lack in polish, we're going to make up for in passion. So the first thing you're going to see is one short scene from As You Like It. And for those of you who are not familiar with the play, I just want to give you a little bit of context. In the play, before the play starts, there's been a coup. The good Duke has been pushed out by his brother, the evil Duke, and he and all of his people have run away to the woods. It's the middle of winter. They're barely surviving. If they go back, they will be killed. So they're essentially refugees. And at the very beginning of the play, the evil Duke, who is now in charge, says to the daughter of the good Duke, who has stayed behind in court, he says to her, I don't trust you, and the people love you too much, and I can't have that. So you have to get out of here too. And if you don't, we'll kill you. So she leaves, and her cousin, who's the good Duke, who's the evil Duke's daughter, decides to go with her. And they take with them another lord, a guy named Touchstone, who's kind of, in the world of Shakespearean comedy, he is the fool. And the three of them travel together to get to the forest of Arden, which is where the Good Duke and all of his people are. And so that they don't get raped and killed on the road, essentially, Rosalind, the Good Duke's daughter, is dressed like a man. So what you're going to see, the scene you're going to see today, is Rosalind and her cousin Celia and Touchstone arriving in Arden, which is a refugee camp, and trying to figure out how to get their needs taken care of. And they encounter the guy who's kind of the fixer. He can get anything that somebody wants if they can pay for it. So, and his name is Corin, and he has a helper who is head over heels in love, and the scene starts with the two of them talking to each other. So that's a little context of the As You Like It scene, and so we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna take the briefest of breaks to rearrange the space slightly, and then you're gonna see a piece that we made, that all the cast members and I made together over the weekend from material that they wrote and stories of their own lives and their own experiences that they are choosing to share. And you will see we have an enormous diversity of kinds of people, experiences, ways of articulating what their experiences are. So we're very excited to be able to share that. And just a couple of housekeeping things. These two gaps between the chairs are actually entrances and exits, so just be aware that there are going to be people coming and going through them. And if you have not already done so, please turn off your cell phones. All right? Thank you so much for coming. Enjoy.
Easy way.
Is the way to make her scorn you still.
Oh, Corin, thou didn't knowest how I do love her.
I partly guess, for I have loved ere now.
No, Corin, being old, thou canst not guess. Though in thy youth thou wert as true a lover as ever sighed upon a midnight pillow, but if thy love were ever like to mine, as sure I think did never man love so, how many actions most ridiculous hast thou been drawn to by thy fantasy?
Into 1,000 that I have forgotten.
Oh, didst then ne'er love so heartily? If thou rememberest not the slightest folly that ever love did make thee run into, thou hast not loved. Or if thou hast not sat, as I do now, wearying thy hearer in thy mistress's praise, thou hast not loved. Or if thou hast not broke from company abruptly, as I do now, thou hast not loved. Oh, Phoebe. Phoebe, oh, Phoebe!
Come on! That's not right. Hug your wee pal, right?
You got it? You got it?
Yeah, man, what are these people? I pray you, bear with me, I cannot go no further.
Well, this is the forest of Arden.
If I am in Arden, the more fool I. When I was at home, I was more comfortable.
I be so good Touchstone.
I pray you, one of you ask yond man if he for gold will give us any food. I faint almost to death.
Holla, you, clown.
Peace, fool! He's not thy kinsman.
Who calls?
Your betters, sir.
Else are they very wretched.
Peace, I say. Good even to you, sir.
And to you, gentle sir, and to you all.
I prithee, if that love or gold can in this desert place buy us entertainment, bring us where we may rest ourselves and feed. Here's a young maid with travel much oppressed and faints for succor.
Fair sir, I pity her, and wish for her sake more than for mine own, my fortunes were better able to relieve her. But I am shepherd to another man. My master is of churlish disposition, and little recks to find the way to heaven by doing deeds of hospitality. That said, his hut, his flocks, and bounds of feed are now on sale.
I pray thee, if it stand with honesty, buy thou the cottage, pasture, and the flock, and thou shalt have to pay for it of us.
Assuredly, the thing is to be sold. Go with me now! If you like this kind of life, I will your very faithful feeder be, and buy it with your gold, right suddenly.
And blackout.
Jabril, Molly, Selma, Leah,
Erica.
Kier.
Jabril Jackson, March 31st, John Peter Smith Hospital, Fort Worth, Texas. I'm a full month overdue when my mom tells my grandmother.
From the time they take him out until the time they put a tag on his toe, don't you take your eyes off my baby.
This is because a guy my mom once kissed while playing Spin the Bottle, who resembles my dad, is having the baby the same day. And his wife looks like my mom.
1996.
Afaf Salma Hassan, December 31st, Luqwat, Algeria, Hôpital Maternité. It's a Tuesday night.
New Year's Eve!
My uncle's an OBGYN in the hospital, so my mom's well taken care of. The best part of my birth is that it unites my family and brings everyone together.
We're in all the pictures.
And they look really happy.
1998.
Kieran MacLeod Aitken, Edinburgh, Scotland, the Simpsons Hospital.
How do you spell that?
Edinburgh? Oh, well, there's an easy mnemonic.
Yeah?
Yeah. Edward died in November, buried under Robert Graham's house. I use it to this day, it works, I'm telling you.
1998. 1998. Molly McCargo Donnell, April 15th, Kaiser Hospital, Santa Clara, California.
Erica Jumran Clark, April 24th, Gwinnett Medical Center, Duluth, Georgia. I have a head full of hair.
Leah Suring Prindle, August 11th, Alta Bates Hospital, Berkeley, California.
Alexis Bree DeJoy, September 11th, UCLA Hospital, Santa Monica, California. After I am bored, my mom watches a Seinfeld marathon on TV. When she is pregnant with me, my mom craves
Brie cheese.
My name, Alexis Bree DeJoy, means the great defender of joy
And cheese.
Really? Yeah, really. Even though the September 11th doesn't happen until 3 years after I'm born, it's strange to have a birthday on the day of a national tragedy. Every year, I contemplate my mortality and feel guilty for celebrating.
I'm born 3 weeks early in an emergency C-section. I'm supposed to be a boy. My twin brother is stillborn because the umbilical cord is wrapped around his neck. Instead of 2 boys, they have 1 girl. My name is supposed to be
Matthew.
but instead they call me
Molly.
after the Molly fish my dad saw at PetSmart the day I am born.
I remember.
I remember the first day of school.
I remember the first day of middle school. My stomach is a bundle of nerves. I am the new kid in a new school in a new state.
We have to get in lines in front of our teachers. Everyone already knows each other. I am waiting with my mom. I have to go in, but first I have to say goodbye to her. I feel very alone.
It's my first day in a public school after years in a sheltered private school. It's a mostly white school too, and I'm the only girl wearing hijab. I feel
Like an outsider.
I remember the first day of middle school. I'm wearing my best outfit. Skinny jeans
Electric blue.
with an even more
Electric blue.
tank top with paint splatter and an even more
electric blue.
cardigan sweater and
Electric blue?
green high tops. I remember the first day of high school. I'm wearing my best outfit.
Black jeans that are much too tight and a shirt like the one every other girl is wearing.
I do not allow myself to wear electric blue.
This is Molly's story, and she will tell you. I remember the first day of school, walking down into my classroom, my age equivalent to the number of fingers on one hand. I open my mouth and pronounce my own name wrong. I'm confused. I am placed in special education, even though I can read at a 5th grade level.
I make the decision to stop being deaf.
I split in half and walk away from my father's welcoming hands.
I walk into a world I can only hear half of. Because of this, I spend most of my life in the desolate space between sound and silence.
My tongue is not made for English, but I have forced it there and made it my home.
I have forced it there and made it my home.
Eu me lembro sentindo amor.
Recuerdo haber
I remember
sentido
feeling
amor.
love.
أتذكر إحساس المحبة.
I remember feeling
I remember feeling love.
I remember feeling love when I come home from college for Thanksgiving. It's the first time I've ever really been away from my family. My dad picks me up from the airport with
Snacks to eat on the ride home.
I come home to a perfectly fall-decorated house. My mom has made,
Pumpkin-shaped pasta.
and she never cooks.
I remember feeling love when they listened. We were in the car late at night,
Talking about our hopes and dreams and our lives.
I admit that I often don't speak because I feel like people don't care about the things I have to say. They lean in closer, look me in the eyes and say,
I care about the things you have to say.
It means everything to me.
Ironically, the most love I ever feel for my ex-husband is when I know I have to leave him. I lie, sneak out with only my backpack, my passport, and the clothes on my back. It's an abusive relationship, and we both need help that we can't provide for each other. Because of this, I have a greater understanding of
The complexities of love and humans.
the complexities of love and humans.
The University of California, Irvine.
Go! What does UCI mean to you?
Going to college.
Not sleeping.
$2 boba.
Quickly graduating?
Not.
Lectures.
Ring road!
Unique.
Zot.
The hardest part of UCI isn't class or homework. It's living in OC.
Prime real estate.
Before a student can focus on school, they have to secure housing.
On campus?
Near campus.
Off campus as a commuter student.
To fill the gaps financial aid won't cover,
Which are substantial.
students need to secure employment.
Find
Find a job
So once you find a place to live,
that costs too much,
and a place to work,
that pays too little,
and bought the books,
which costs too much.
the straw that can break an anteater's back is
Food. Do you spend your precious hours studying or working?
sometimes you sacrifice food.
My name is Selma, and I'm a food justice warrior. My work here at Fresh is a huge part of my experience at UCI.
In 2015, UCI is one of the last UCs not to have a food pantry. For a long time, the administration does not see.
Food security, insecurity as a real issue.
The administration does not believe.
There's a need for a food pantry. In fact, nearly 46% of UCI students lack consistent access to nutritious meals. A lot of students regularly skip meals, or they get by on instant ramen or cheap junk food. At first, even when the food pantry opens, there is almost no funding from the university.
Spring 2016 Food Pantry Referendum.
Every student will pay $3 per quarter to help fund the Fresh Hub.
86% of students approved the referendum.
As a kid in Algeria, my parents are both teachers, and my dad is a religious leader in the community. I'm always surrounded by a loving family. Then we were forced to move. In September 2001, my Muslim family moved to the U.S. seeking political asylum.
Great timing.
Yeah, right? We live in a constant state of anxiety for about 3 years, with our luggage packed and just waiting at the door. I'm inspired to work at Fresh because my experiences with food and housing insecurities and my family's passion for social justice.
Self-care grace.
Some he meet and canna eat, and some would eat that want it. But we he meet and we can eat, so let the Lord be thanked.
A poem by Rupi Kaur. The kindest thing my father ever said to me: women like you drown oceans.
Couldn't Care More by Savannah Brown. We're all trapped in our heads, and the cracks in our skin are the only way we can let other people in. So do.
The Lake Isle of Innisfree by William Butler Yeats. And I shall find some peace there, for peace comes dropping slow, dropping from the veils of the morning to where the cricket sings. Where is home?
Home is a few places. It's the house that I grew up in Leith. It's the West End of Glasgow where I went to university. But if home
is where the heart is,
then home is a tiny island off the west coast of Scotland called Iona.
Total population 177 people.
You are surrounded by,
Nature.
Icy cold water.
More stars than you can imagine.
and there's something holy about it. The wind is always blowing, yet I know nowhere is calm. The abbey on Iona was founded by St. Columba in the year 563. But now, there's a small, very forward-thinking Christian community there that are open to changes and new ideas. And it's a big reason why I still call myself Christian today.
My home is a few more people than that. El Segundo, California. A small town smack in the middle of Los Angeles. When I say I live close to LAX, I'm not kidding. I see it out my bedroom window.
For me, Home is the beauty of the San Francisco fog.
Home is somewhere between the southern comfort of Texas, the bite of New York, and the openness of California.
When I'm in America, I refer to Algeria as back home. But when I'm in Algeria, I'm homesick for San Diego. And when I'm in Irvine, I just miss my mom's food.
For me, home is Albany, California, where I grew up. But it is also my grandma's house in Brazil, where the dogs greet me like I never left, and I can smell her food cooking in the kitchen. I cannot choose between my American and Brazilian heritage. It's like choosing which parent you love more.
I grew up in Georgia, but I don't really miss it because it never felt like it was where I wanted to be. Senior year of high school, I lived with a friend for 6 months. Things are hard with my mom. Home is here for me now.
Home is here for me now.
My name is Alexis, and I believe in reading novels.
My name is Selma, and I believe in making mistakes.
My name is Leah, and I believe in positivity.
My name is Molly, and I believe in myself.
My name is Jabril, and I believe in cheat days.
My name is Kier, and I believe we are not alone in the universe.
My name is Erica, and I believe that love is for everyone.
Blackout.
About, I don't know whether we have chairs for the actors, not really, but we can all just kind of gather on the floor. Yeah. I'm going to sit on the floor because I'm old and keep creaking. Yeah, Julia, do you want to facilitate? Do you want me to facilitate?
We can do it together. I think that was really beautiful. It was, it's so great to have seen this being built from ground zero to what the group of you was able to present today. And maybe I'd like to hear a little bit from the actors about this process and what it meant to you and what came out of the process for you.
I think my favourite devising activity we did was we went in pairs and interviewed each other for like 15 minutes or so, and then we wrote monologues as if we were that person, so speaking in first person, and then we performed them, the other person's monologue, and it was interesting to see what they picked up on, the little things that you didn't think were that important about your story. For me, for the acronym of Edinburgh, I literally just said it, I thought that was a good acronym, and then they all laughed at me, and I was like, wait, is that not a good acronym? And that was a good way of getting to know people like that.
I just think there was so much vulnerability with everyone and so much care in what we shared and how people received what was shared, and I think that was really wonderful.
I think what made the best part of it was how quickly we were able to establish community, and even if we all don't come from the same background, we don't have the same stories, there was little things that connected all of us. We've all had that, we just all strangely had the same thing of being the first day of school, all these little tying things, and it was just the weekend went by so fast, and just I feel like we all grew and we have so much more love because of the weekend, so it was good.
I think something for me was being able to tie my personal experience or my story, right, growing up, to the work that I'm doing here at Fresh, because a lot of times I saw them as separate, or I just see them as like, you know, just like this part of my life, and then this, when I come to UCI, this is like another part of my life. But just my story, my childhood experiences, informing a lot of the work that I do today, and how that like guides my passion.
It was really cool in working on the Shakespeare scene to really hear from about the experiences of the refugees, like the camps that she went to and got to teach at and hear from and learn with. And then some of the stories that she told us during our rehearsal for the Shakespeare scene of like what those people went through and what the reality of their lives are that like I never really knew or understood. So it was cool to first hear about that and then start to try what it's like living and knowing what that really is, coming from never knowing it.
I have a question for the non-drama majors. How was it creating, I know there's like very few of you, but how was it creating such a vulnerable piece about your own personal stories and the ability to create a piece together with all your stories together, and how that how this dramatic experience was for you in a sense?
I don't know if you were a drama major or not. Are you not a drama major?
I'm not, no.
Oh, okay, I didn't know. Oh, okay. Okay, so for me, I'm a dance major, and I tagged along because I am in love with Shakespeare's work, and so I am very thankful for Julia and Jessica for having me. I'm a believer in the exposure of things to kind of unite people and make other people feel less alone. Ironically enough, this is actually the first time I've ever told that story in like a performative setting. And because I've told people in like in intimate settings, like with a small group and, and family, and you tell the story over and over. But in a performative setting, it's a different beast. And I was suddenly made aware of it when I started talking. I was like, oh snap. And it kind of like, I felt almost like this like a curtain being ripped open. And I had intended on eventually, if I ever receive any kind of platform to talk about it, I want to talk about it because it's a thing that is not talked about much, domestic violence in homosexual relationships. And so I was like, oh, this is it. Okay, I'm here and I'm doing it. So keep doing it.
Keep doing it.
Keep doing. Oh, thank you,
Yeah.
Thank you. It was, but it felt like a blessing, and I almost had to catch myself for a second. But I'm very thankful for it.
You sound like you're a non-actor.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm not in arts at all.
Yeah.
Not even like there was a part where like we had come up with or like we chose our favorite poem, and she was telling us like make a dance or like something out of like a couple lines, and I was like I don't do that stuff, I write, but it was a bit out of my comfort zone, and honestly I was a little nervous coming in, and it's something that like I realized that I want to tap into a bit more. It was also interesting like sharing your story in a performative way, or even like thinking about it in that way, right? Like not just kind of like what Jabril was saying, but not just like talking about it with friends and family, but thinking of a way to represent it, whether that be through writing or through dance or through performance. Yeah, that was my experience. I'm really glad I did it. Yeah, I'm really happy.
Yeah, there's somebody over there. Do you have a question? No? I'm pretending you had a question.
Jessica, can you say a little bit about what it was like to work with our students?
Sure. It was amazing. One of the things I was thinking as both Jabril and Selma were talking about their experiences of sharing their stories in this way, one of the things that I wanted to make sure everybody who was participating understood was that they were going to have control over how much they revealed of their own stories. That they didn't owe a level of disclosure that they felt uncomfortable with. So that was something that I said at the outset, and then we revisited that question over and over again. And so what we did on Saturday was a lot of different ways of generating the material that turned into the script that you saw. And then I went home with like a huge stack of pages with everybody's like scrawly handwriting all over them, and turned them into the script that you saw. So everybody got the script for the first time yesterday at around noon. And yeah, like serious, like you guys are awesome. But so I said, if I got anything wrong, please, let me know. We'll change things. Everything can be tweaked to make sure that you feel like it represents you accurately. And a bunch of people did change what I wrote, and every single one of the changes was about revealing something more than what you had said the previous day or what had been on the page. So that to me was an indication that we had made a space and a process that really felt both safe and like it was honoring the specificity of people's experiences, that you all felt like, no, there's actually this other thing that I need to get in there also. And the other thing that I just wanted to say was important to me in terms of bringing out like everybody's different stories and identities and experiences, and it happened at sort of a different amounts for different people, but there's a lot of different languages spoken in this group, and people come from different kinds of families where they speak different languages at home, and it felt extremely important for us all to hear, or in Molly's case, to see the variety of languages that people carry around with them, because that's not always something that when you're just interacting with them in class or on campus where people are mostly just speaking English, that you might not have access to that. And it's such a fundamental part of who we all are that I was really excited to be able to bring that in even if it was only in small ways. Questions, thoughts, responses?
Sure, comment. Yeah. My name's Jody Margolis. I'm a dietitian, nutritionist on campus, and I really appreciated the thought that you put into the it makes me want to cry, just the vulnerability in knowing the need for food is universal, and you all being up there and representing different walks of life and different backgrounds, and seeing that connects us. And sometimes when we don't have food, that connects us too. And I just meet with so many students on the campus who have this struggle, and sometimes they're afraid to speak up. And so having this space and having Andrea and her student staff, it's amazing. And this really just was a beautiful way to highlight it. So thank you.
Do you want to say
Hi everyone, Andrea Gutierrez. Thank you so much for sharing this space with us today. We started this work 3 years ago with very little, and I get very emotional because this work is personal to me, right? I am also a UCI alum, and now I have the honor to serve our students on campus and work with these great minds, and the students who are committed to no longer seeing hunger on the campus, right? And taking care of each other. And the only reason we have this is because students, right, said like, we're gonna pay a fee so that we can protect everybody else on the campus. So it has been an honor working with these students, right, and with this community. And I'm very, very grateful to Julia and the School of Humanities, right, and for Jessica for sharing this space and making this possible. I know when Julia called and said, like, we have this crazy idea, are you down for it? And I said yes, because I'm always thinking of how else can we share that story, right? Because sometimes our stories that are silent stories that our students don't walk around Ring Road saying, like, I'm hungry. Many of them, keep that to themselves, and only behind doors do those conversations come to life, and it's usually me who hears all those stories, right? So thank you so much for believing in us and for being one of our biggest supporters here on campus, and really understanding, right, that food is a right, that it is immoral for our society to have hungry people and people who struggle. And so I'll leave it at that, but I'm very moved and very excited that there's such a loving and supportive community here, in being able to show that to our students, right? And thank you for recording today, because then it's going to have a greater reach, right, into some of our students who are out there walking alone, feeling invisible, feeling like they are the only ones who are going through this. I think it's going to be a little bit of a breakthrough, right, to understand that we are having these conversations, that we are no longer invisibilizing their journeys. So thank you so much.